What is up, boys? My name is Jake, also known as JessFoot on Twitter and Instagram. I've been playing FIFA for years. I recently started trading a couple years ago. Last year when I took it really serious, I was able to accumulate 20 mil within 4 months. And so essentially what I want to do is start putting out more and more content for you guys to understand how to trade and invest. So with this series, what I'm looking to do is essentially look at the team of the weeks for every week and look at the stuff that I like in terms of the best investments, best players that will go out of packs in Rocket because of Weekend League, SBC fodder, things like that. Essentially just looking over the layout of the team of the week and kind of giving you the best buys and prices and where I think I'm at. So with that said, first of all, happy FIFA. I know today's the first day the web app is out, so that's why I'm bringing you this. EA Access is rumored to drop within a couple hours, but for now we're going to go through here. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I want to say, let's look at the bench. The first thing I do want to say with this team of the week and with this first episode is because the market is a little bit whack at first, just because you have the web app and then you have the EA Access, then you have the pre-order. There's a bunch of people that are coming on the game at different times. I'm probably going to stay away from specific prices, but more so give you cards that I like and trends, as to the reasons why I like them. So looking on the bench here, I don't see, kind of looking at these bottoms cards, I don't see anything that, really stands out for me. If in terms of positioning here, right wing and right back are positions that tend to be more rare, so that alone, especially at the beginning of the game, will add a little bit of a benefit in terms of how much they will go up out of packs. Just quickly, I do want to touch on in terms of out of packs, because Team of the Week 1 is so rare. If you look at it, so today is what we have. Today is the 18th, and the Team of the Week goes out of the pack the 25th, and then the regular game doesn't even come out until the 27th. So if you don't pre-order the game, then you won't even have these players to buy in packs. So just the way people are buying, the number of people who are buying packs on the game is just a lot less. Therefore, the supply in the market is a lot less. So as the time goes on throughout the year, the cards just get more rare and rare because the supply is by far the least amount throughout the whole game. So with that said, I don't necessarily look too much into any of these. The first one that I do like is going to be Tammy Abraham here. So when you look at Tammy Abraham here, there's a couple things. Obviously, you have the English in the Prem, which will create a ton of demand. You look at Chelsea, you have the followers. Abraham's obviously a little bit of a hyped up player this year. He's had a couple of different goals. You look at his card, decent stats here. If we look at this card in a new tab, just quickly kind of looking at his face stats, I do like this investment. It should rise out of packs. Physicality of 85 strength, which is good. You don't love the jumping. Shooting's not bad. Finishing, which is an 84. Essentially, this is a starter inform. You have a 3-star, 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 3-star. But as I mentioned, whenever you have the English in the Prem, that's gonna rock it. Going back here, Malin, I do like. He's gonna be very OP early on in the game. In terms of investment, I don't think this will be the best one. However, you severely lack in the league and the nation where you can link. Typically, I like to invest in top 5 nations and top 5 leagues, both which is Malin is not in this card. He will be overpowered in the Weekend League early on in the game, so I think we will see an early rise with him. But in terms of the duration of rise, I think there are better cards out there. Moving along, surprisingly, Nacho Monreal. That's the one I do want to talk about. Surprisingly, I think this may be the best investment in this team of the week. If you look at SBC fodder, you typically want to look at cards from 80 to 84 rated. You want top nations and top leagues. When you look at Nacho Monreal, the thing that I really do like about this card is that you have a Spanish player in, obviously, La Liga. So when you look at that situation, it creates the ability to hyperlink within SBCs, and that's clearly and obviously what you want in order to get higher chem with players who are not necessarily all within the same league. So that's why I really like this one. So if you look at, so the first thing is obviously he fits the mold for an SBC fodder. Number 2, you look at his positioning. Left back and right back are the most rare positions on the game, so I highly recommend always investing in those specific positions when you can. So when you look at his position, you look at now that he's in inform. So again, the left back position is the least amount of supply in the game. That goes for the same with their team of the week cards in terms of their supply. So just the supply will be gone there. The left back position is gone. And then the 66 pace is obviously, that just screams SBC fodder. No one's going to want to use him because of that pace. So any team of any SBC that needs a team of the week moving forward here, he will be a perfect fit in that SBC. Not to mention, once he gets put into SBCs, his supply will just keep going down and down and down, and he'll of course be out of packs. So therefore, he'll just continue to rise. Looking further on the bench here, you have Pellegrini, which I think is a really nice card here. Obviously, you have that all-around midfielder, and you have him in the Serie A, being an Italian. So again, that does provide the opportunity to hyperlink. But here, I don't see him more so as a discard SBC fodder. This is more so going to be a playable card. So in terms of SBC fodder and the way that these cards are going to rise up, I think Nacho Monreal poises a bigger rise over time. Ibrahimovic, I think Ibrahimovic will be a classic SBC fodder again. The 57 pace just doesn't do it for me, along with a lot of other FIFA players. I know it's going to be hard to fit him in your squad along with that pace, just due to him being in MLS. So I don't see this rising a ton, other than this could be a great high rated for SBCs down the line. So moving into the starters now here, when I first look at Neuer on the bench, obviously this is going to be a high rated card. And kind of what this looks like to me was where he would be obviously a high meta in form. When you're looking at weekend league, he'll have demand early on in the game just because of the distance of the elite tier in goalkeepers and the lack of goalkeepers early on. So I think he will rise, obviously, because of that link to Bayern players, the German in the Bundesliga, so it's easier to link, and then obviously just the demand there. Moving over to Aurier, I think he is potentially the second best investment in this team of the week. Obviously, you look in the past couple years, we've had right backs in the first team of the week in Cancelo last year, and I think it was Walker the first year. I may be wrong on that, or 2 years ago, excuse me. But essentially, like as I mentioned, those left and right backs, they do really well just due to the lack of supply. When you add them into the Premier League, where there's already not a lot of right backs, this card is going to skyrocket. This is going to be a card that will skyrocket over time. If you can look to get him near discard, even this 12K here I think it's a great price, and he should just go up and up. Looking at Tagliafico, I think this is also another good card. Obviously, I like the positioning. It doesn't have the links as much as potentially these other cards do. Again, it's not in a top 5 league, arguably a top 5 nation being Argentina. I do like that card if you can get it a little bit cheaper than what it is now. Again, the prices are going to be a little bit trickier based off of EA access, and then the web app, then EA access. So there's going to be a couple of little ups and downs, and it's going to be harder to predict what price to get at, but I would monitor him. When you look at De Jong and Delaney, these are great weekend league cards. These are going to be just steady investments throughout the year, or at least out through the first month and a half, 2 months of FIFA. I think these should just continue to rise, being very meta team of the week players and all-around midfielders. Obviously, they're both in top 5 leagues, being the Bundesliga and then the La Liga. De Jong with Barcelona has more of an opportunity to link with other players, that are that high caliber-esque, just because he is with Barcelona. But either way, they'll be great both options, and look for these to rise. Gerard Moreno is another one of my favorite investments in this team of the week. A couple things that we're looking at. Obviously, you have a 79 pace for a winger, so most people may not potentially want to play them in their weekend league teams. You look at 84 rated. I do believe that's still in the SBC fodder range. And then the right mid, right wing position, along with left mid, left wing position, are also a position that lacks the supply just in comparison to, say, striker or goalkeeper. So again, that's just going to help his rise. And then finally, the last thing we do have here is you have the Spaniard again in the La Liga, which presents very easy way to link and hyperlink these in SBCs when you need high rated with potentially a different amount of clubs and nations in these SBCs. So finally, going over to kind of the top here, you look at Benzema. Obviously, you have the French, and he's a cross league, meaning you have a French in another top 5 league. So obviously, that'll do really well just based off of linking teams or linking him in teams. The 77 pace obviously is not what you want up top. But again, you have the high rated. You have a couple good stats. It looks like the physicality is up there. This is going to be a card that I think will rise, but there will be different opportunities within other cards in this team of the week that I think will just be a better opportunity. When you look at Mertens, this is going to be a phenomenal card for weekend league. For those reasons only, the next couple weeks to the next month and a half, this is going to be a steady card on the rise. If you look at weekend league, you have the pace, you have the finishing, and you have the dribbling. That's everyone's dream when you're dealing with cards up top. Obviously, Belgium, you do have a little bit of wiggle room to link with teams and some players from that nation, and then obviously you have the Serie A being in a top 5 league, so very linkable, very meta. He will continue to rise. When you look at Mane, obviously this is kind of the firecracker of the team of the week. It's the best card in the team of the week, and his price already dictates that. So when you look at him, obviously you're looking at the 95 pace, which is just killer at this point in FIFA. You have the 89 dribbling, which is fantastic. The 85 shooting. Liverpool. This is going to be a card that's going to be the most in-demand card in the game, really, or at least one of them throughout the next month and a half. So he will rise over packs. However, I don't know how obtainable he is for most people. Finally, looking at Nani on the left-hand side. Again, this one's kind of an in-between for me. He's going to be near discard, but just because you have the right mid and Portugal, I do think he will rise a bit. So this could be a decent little investment here. So if you have the right mid, which is the position rarity, I think that drives his price up a bit. And then you add in Portugal. Typically, when you're looking at SBC fodder, a country like Portugal does do really well. So I do think this could be a decent card. So finally, kind of putting it all together, again, just looking at the cards I really think that will rise and the ones that I do like. I'd really like the Nacho Monreal card. I like the Aurier card. I like the Moreno, and I like the Nani in terms of kind of what I like on the lower end of the tier that are going to rise. And then obviously once you're looking at kind of that higher rated tier and that more meta weekend league player calibers, these 2 center mids are gonna rise greatly in the next couple months. And then you look at Mertens and Mane in terms of those are the most meta in-demand strikers that are going to be in the game for the next few weeks. So with that said, what I plan on kind of doing is kind of keeping track of these players that I thought were going to be good investments throughout the next couple of days to week, and then potentially going on a packs just so we can, in the second episode, we can come back, look at team of the week too, but also look at where those prices sit at and kind of evaluate, how we can use that moving forward. So with that said, if this video helped you out, you thought it was interesting, looking forward to the next series. I'll be back next week with Team of the Week 2. Please give me a like, subscribe, and I'll see you then.